We're in luck. Okay, hi, this is Matt. We're doing a pro performance employee training today and thought I'd record it for future prosperity. And so we'll just jump right in and go through the day in the life of an employee of pro performance and how the system might work. Today I have us set up in a demo database. This is just demo data. It's not functioning in terms of pay processing or anything else like that, but we'll be able to play around with it a little bit, show you the functionality of the program. So what's going to happen for you as an employee, the first thing you'll do when you're set up is you'll receive an email, and in it will have a link to the server that you'll be logging into that you click on, and it'll also have a temporary password for you. So all you do is you simply log in, fill in the temporary password. It will prompt you to change your password, and it'll also prompt you to accept a user license agreement. You'll have to scroll all the way to the bottom of the user license agreement and click I accept, and then it'll let you log in. When you log in, you'll be given the option to launch the welcome screen or the club. And what that means is basically this is set up as a dual monitor system like the current version 3 that you're using. And so you have one monitor that faces the club members as they scan in, and then you have this monitor which will show this, which is your dashboard from which you'll be driving your operations. And so you're going to want to launch the club level to start this. Now, way the welcome screen works is somebody's going to launch the welcome screen at some point, and it'll always be up and resident and stay there on that monitor unless you turn off that computer or otherwise X out of the welcome screen. So you may come in and find that the welcome screen's not launched. So the first thing I'm going to show you how to do is how to launch the welcome screen. If you look in the upper right hand corner, you see this thing that looks like a monitor. That launches the welcome screen. So for some reason it's not up and you want that up to greet the members, you're going to just click that button and it'll launch the welcome screen. And what it'll have here is it'll have your logo or something. Right now the screen's just white, but it'll have your logo to kind of skin it and make it look okay. You might find it sticking right in your face on your employee dashboard screen. You're like, I don't know, I want that over on the welcome screen. So you just grab it at the top here and drag it over to the other monitor. Pretty easy to do. You drop it there. Now it's out of your way and it'll be over on the other monitor. So that's it. That's how you log in, and that's how you launch the welcome screen. Second thing you're going to want to do right after you log in is you're going to want to clock in. I'm not 100% sure, but if you're tracking hours through the system, which you may be, I haven't confirmed that with Amanda yet, what you'll do is you go to the employee section over to the time clock, and you clock in. You simply select your name. We got Chris Rock working today, and he's clocked in. Okay? You're good to go and you're clocked in. That's it. So that's kind of it from the what you do when you first log in perspective. First, you're going to check to see the welcome screen's up and running, and second, you're going to clock in. If you mess up and forget to log in, or if you forget to clock out, you'll need a manager to come in and adjust your time entry so it reflects the correct time entry for you. Pretty straightforward. Stepping back now to an overview of the system, the next most important thing to know is this little blue question mark. That opens a help menu. Okay, so it'll jump you over to our website, and it has a list of courses here that explain what's going on and in the different sections of the program. So if you have a question about anything, most of the stuff's covered here. This training data is probably a month or two behind the releases on iGo 360, so some of it's a little bit dated. We're constantly updating it to catch it up with the latest releases, so sometimes your question may not answer there, but most of the time it will be. So a handy tool to remember: if you have a question, just click that question mark button and it'll take you right to it. Okay, now for an overview of the general layout of the program. Over here you have a member attendance panel. It'll show who's scanned in for the day. Well, list them out here, the staff that's scheduled today. Some clubs set that up, some clubs don't. I don't know how you're doing it, so you may not have your schedule in here, but if it is, it'll appear over here. The buttons across the top, they're big and they're bright and they're very self-explanatory. The home button takes you home, which is this screen. Prospects are where you enter and manage prospects. The member button is where you enter and manage members. A scheduling feature, which I know you're not going to use just yet, but y'all might ease into a little bit later, is a fully integrated calendar where you can schedule appointments and classes and things like that. A CRM is a customer relationship management tool which lists all the notes and emails and documents you may have been entering for various members. A point of sale system is a straightforward point of sale system. Lots of different reports for you. There's only a few you're going to be focusing on as employees, and an employee management section. The settings section has to do with the settings for the club, and you really won't be fooling around with that much as an employee, mostly because that's already set up. All the things that need to be set up in there will already have been set up. Another thing to remember, as an employee, you'll have a restricted security profile on it. So some of the things that you might see here today, you won't see when you're logged in with your employee ID. For example, this key performance indicator chart stands for KPI. It shows all the sales and memberships and gross revenue of the club from today to a month ago to a year ago. That's one option that most club owners just elect not to display for their employees. But the other thing that you do have on here, that if you're using the calendaring feature, and you won't be at first, but as you get into it, if there's anything scheduled for you today or any task scheduled for you today, you'll see it here. Not going to be using that at first, so we're really not going to get too much into the training on that today. Okay, so you have people that show up at the club. They'll scan in using their barcode scanner, and their picture will appear over here. But sometimes they'll forget their key tag to do a manual sign-in. You click the manual sign-in button, it brings up a list of members. You won't have a short, easy-to-use list of 6. You'll have a long, lengthy list of hopefully lots and lots of them. And so to pull up a member, all you really need to do is just start typing their name. You can type in TO and then hit enter, and it'll pull up every member with TO in their name. And so that'll narrow it down. You can, oh, there's Tom. He's coming in to work out today. You check him off. He works in. He's here today. This is what the welcome screen will look like. It'll have his picture, the number of times he's attended, any messaging you have here. It'll stay up there. There's a setting that you can put how long it stays up there. I think we'll have you all set at something like 10 seconds. But that's what the welcome screen will look like when he scans in. Was there a question on the floor? Okay, no worries. Okay, so Tom just scanned in, and that's how manual scanning works. You'll note that everything is very hyperlink driven, so if you wanted to see Tom's member record, you can click on it. One of the things we have is like in version 3, if a member owes you money when they scan in, their name is going to appear in red. If they're on hold, say for some example, somebody went on a medical hold, and they're a month into a 3-month medical hold, then their name will appear in orange, I believe. So you'll see different colors, and generally if you have something other than black, you want to click on the member record and go maybe look at the notes to see what's going on with that member, or their payment history to see if they owe you money. If they owe you money, you can tap them on the shoulder and say, oh, hey, we're not a nonprofit. So that's pretty much it for the member attendance panel and how this list on today's attendance will work and how you manually sign somebody in. Okay. Next button we'll cover is the prospect button. So if you click the prospect button, just click it, it'll show a list of all the prospects. A prospect, the way the system defines that, is somebody who comes into the club and they're like, I'm thinking about joining, but they don't join. And you as a club want to keep track of them, so you can call them and email them and hopefully convince them to join your facility. And so you'll enter their data here. And they'll be listed here, and if you're able to close the sale later, you just simply click a button to convert them to a member and then go through the member entry process. So signing up a prospect is super easy. I won't go through the whole thing, but all you're really doing is getting their name and number and email address and dumping it in there. So you click the sign up button, and then use all the data that you want to grab, you put in here. So minimally you're going to want, first name, last name, email, and phone number, and then you just click save. You can shoot a picture of them if you want, or not, and then you put in the source on how they heard about you so you can keep track of that. There's other data you can put in here. This template that we have in here, there's one big franchise that uses our system, and they're like, well, we want to track this for all of them. You can elect to do that or not. It's just gathering some data about what their goals are for joining, so it might make it easier to close the sale later on if you have some good data to look at. Oh, this is what they're looking to do. They're trying to lose weight. I'll call them and remind them of their goal and hopefully convince them to join. But that's what that data is there. If they were referred by somebody, you can select the other member or the member that's referred them here. So this will pull up your whole member list. You can start typing a name like I did before. It'll narrow it down. You can say, oh, you know, so-and-so referred them and click save. And then you can track your referrals other ways. Lead generator, and it depends on if you pay sales commissions or not. I forget if Amanda told me that y'all pay sales commissions on sales or not. But there's a lead generator, and then there's a person who closes the sale. So lead generator is a person who, you know, brings them in and enters a lead. Then there's a sales person who's assigned, and there are different commissions paid on that if that's all set up. So when you enter them, then the record's saved. We'll just go back to the one we already have set up here, and we'll take a look at the prospect record. Here's the prospect record. It looks a lot like a member record does. A member record's going to have more tabs here, and we'll look at one of those in just a minute. But it just basically has the data that you just entered on that, you know, name, email address, phone number. There's different stuff you can do if you want to work your prospects, and depending on how much your club wants to do that, you can actually start assigning tasks on the calendar. So when employees come in, they'll look at the calendar and say, oh, I got an outbound call scheduled for Sally Prospect at 10 o'clock today. I'm a caller and see if I can close a sale. You can start to do more of that here. There's a lot of different actions that you can perform on this record through what this is called. We call it a relate bar, and it just has a bunch of different actions that can be performed that vary by the button. The first week of using it, you're not going to know what the buttons mean, but after you get into using it for a week, you're going to remember them all. And if you can't remember, you just don't. If you just hover over each button for a second, it says what it's going to do. So home button takes you back here. Edit allows you to edit the member record. The green suitcase is to bring up the point of sale system if you're going to sell something to that person. You can change the status. Every prospect is entered as new, and then as you work them, you might put it active and then inactivate the prospect if you fail to close the sale. The best button is here to convert them to a member. So when you sell them, they're like, great, I want to join. You click that button. It grabs all the data that they have here, and it dumps it into the new member entry form, so you don't have to rekey it all to the extent you've captured that. Other handy features, you can upload documents to the system. So if they sign a waiver, for example, you can scan it and upload it, and it'll be attached to that record. The brown buttons to enter notes, you just click on it, it brings up a note entry form. I've entered some down here, and it'll just show up down here in the record. So as you get information on a prospect or on a member, you can enter notes, and so your other team members will know what's going on with that particular member or prospect. So I always really advocate using the note feature. If there's anything unique going on with any of your members or any problems that you're having that you've addressed, you can enter a note there, and then your other team members will know what's going on whenever they pull up that record. The check button allows you to schedule tasks, like maybe they're going to come in for a tour later, but we're not going to get too much into that just yet. You can set them up with a free trial. It's pretty straightforward. We'll go ahead and click that since y'all might be doing that. You can assign them a barcode so they can scan in and have their attendance tracked. Y'all don't have a 24-hour access system, so you won't be checking that button. That's what that button's for. And then start and end date of the free trial period, and you click save. So that'll give them a free trial pass. So if y'all are going to use that, that's an easy way to do that. You can generate and send an email out of the system directly to that member if you'd like. And that's pretty much it for that. Some of the other features, which I haven't gone through with Amanda yet, but will be ones that we're going to be setting up and y'all will probably get into later, is there's about 40 emails that are automatically generated and sent depending on the occurrence of certain events within the software. And the few big categories for those are if they're turned on, and when we start the system they won't be turned on, but once they are turned on, when you enter a new prospect, the prospect will get a greeting email from the club talking about how happy you are that they came in to visit. You can change the text however you want, and then 2 more emails after that to try to convince them to join. Those will be turned off in the beginning, but know that and Amanda or whoever might tell you when they turn it on, they'll say, hey, we've turned on the prospect emails now. So when you enter a prospect, make sure you grab their email address because they'll be getting emails from us trying to get them to join. It's the same thing with new members. There's a series of new member emails that you can set up if you want. We're going to start those off as being turned off, and when they're turned on, we'll let you know, or whoever activates them will let you know, so that you'll know when you enter a new member, they're getting the new member welcome email, just greeting them and telling, happy to have you join. That's pretty much it for the prospect record. There is some billing, so you can sell products and sell personal training to a prospect. Most clubs don't do that, so I'm not really going to get into that. We're going to try to keep this as the happy day in the life of a pro performance employee, and that's something you probably won't use any of, so we'll just leave that alone for now. That's it for the prospect record. So let's jump over to the member record now. Same sort of concept here. You click the member button, it pulls up a list of all your members, their current payment status, and like that. We'll go and jump to a member record just by clicking the hot link over here, so you can kind of see how that works. Pretty much everywhere else you see the member's name is going to be a hot link somewhere. If you pull up a report of whatever it is you're looking at, it'll have hot links in that. You can click on those and it'll jump right into the member record. This is a good introduction of what the member record looks like. You'll notice it looks a lot like the prospect record, except it's a lot juicier because you got more stuff going on. They're a full member now. They're paying you. They have a contract with you, that sort of thing. You got a few extra buttons over here that give you a little bit of extra functionality that you're going to want to use, and so we'll cover all that. First thing you're going to notice is this section up here. It basically gives you the statistics on that member. This is their birth date, the source how they heard, barcode, how long they've been a member, when their contract ends. This is the one thing you want to not lose sight of. We're actually thinking about changing the color of this so it stands out a little bit better. One of the things that you're going to spend lots of, spend lots of time managing is managing members that owe you money. They're going to be delinquent or terminated perhaps, and so just seeing over here, that's going to answer a lot of questions for you right off the bat when you jump into a member record. So whenever I pull up a member record, one of the first things I glance at is, oh, okay, they don't owe me any money, sweet. So on the general tab, you've got the different things they've signed up for. For you guys, it's going to mostly be, 1-year prepay agreements or the month-to-month classes. This is test data, so we're playing around with black belt classes and different kinds of things that we set them up with, which y'all won't be fooling around with for a while, if at all. But you'll have a membership agreement on here, and it shows when it started and when it ends. And if you want to see the details of that, you can just click the edit button and it'll pull up the details. Okay, it's a 12-month agreement. They paid $1,500. That was their tax rate, and Chris was a salesperson. It ends that day. Okay, so clicking edit allows you to jump into that and see that record. There's a cancel and void button, and that's generally if a member's having to cancel or void it, void the transaction for whatever reason. Those are fairly self-explanatory. If a member shows up and says they want to cancel, and you click the button and click cancel, and then it'll ask you if you want to exchange money if they're buying out of their contract or something like that. It also shows a brief summary of the notes that you got right here, and if you want to see all the notes, then you can click on the brown notes button. It'll show you all the notes that have been entered, but we only have one here in this test data. Okay, other cool stuff to look at here is you got general. The other button is contact information. It's pretty self-explanatory. It'll show you the contact info you have for them. History. This too is fairly straightforward. It's a history of different stuff. So you look at the type of history you want to look at. I want to see their attendance history. Let's say somebody comes in and they say, oh, hey, if I keep track of my attendance here and submit it to my insurance company, they'll pay me some money. Great. All you need to do is go to the History tab, click the Attendance History button, and then you can do the date range for which you want to see their attendance, and click Print. And it'll print a nice report for them. It'll show them how many times they attended. Fairly straightforward. Other histories that are useful are like email history. So if you want to know the automatic emails or any other emails that you've sent out of the system, it'll show that history here as well too. These other histories you're not going to look at too much, mostly attendance history, email history, and status history. Status history is if they're an OK member and then they went to delinquent, owed you money, and they went back to OK, you'll be looking at that history sometimes too. Okay, now here's where all the magic happens. This is the billing section. Differences between version 3 and this version is the billing occurs automatically. So if you set up somebody on a month-to-month contract where they're paying you on the 8th of each month, then the system automatically generates an invoice and processes it on the 8th of each month. You don't have to do anything. There's not a money management section for it. It just happens automatically. Um, so here's what you got. When you click the billing tab, your current due, if you got any money sitting there, it means they owe you money. An unapplied amount is like a credit that they have out with you. And then a future due, there are some situations where you can actually set up somebody on a payment plan where they can pay you in the future. There's about a 99.999% chance you'll never use that. And so you'll see it in the checkout screen that one of the payment methods is on account, and it'll ask you if you want to set up a payment stream for them, and then the due dates, those would appear here if you have them. But that's something you're probably never going to use, so we're not going to go through an example of that. Payment history shows their payment history. Invoice history, it's actually slightly different than payment history. So for example, if a payment on an invoice fails, you'll see the failed payment attempt in here, and then sometimes you'll end up paying off several invoices at one time. So, common scenario that you'll come across, somebody's payment will have failed. They'll either call you or they'll show up at the club and say, oh, hey, I owe you $49 for last month's due. What do you do? Okay, great. What's your name? Tom Cruise, super. You jump over here, click the billing tab, and you click Get Payment. Pretty easy. What's going to happen is it'll show in this section right here the invoice that they owe. Yep, I see that you owe us $49 right here. You'll type in $49. You put a check by the checkbox there for that particular invoice, and then you click Checkout. Very straightforward. It'll tell you when you check out, and we're going to go through that in a minute. It'll give you the payment options to choose from. They may give you a new credit card number for them to start charging against for future payments, or they may be just giving you a check or something. You take that form of payment and check out, and they're done. Very straightforward. But that you'll be spending some time in the billing section. Just that's just where you're going to spend some time when you're looking at member records. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Is there a question on the floor? Mm-hmm. You can do that. It'll be a credit on an account, so it'll be an unapplied amount. Okay, so if they're paying anything in advance, you can take the payment. It'll give them a credit. It'll say, what do you want to do with the extra payment? You just say, leave it as a credit, and they'll have a credit sitting there on their account. The next month that comes around, if they have a credit on their account, it applies that credit, and if there's any def balance owed, it'll hit their card on file for whatever payment method they have set up. Which brings me to another good point here, are the payment methods. Here you'll have a list of payment methods. So you'll have statement, as everybody has that as a payment method, and then you'll have whatever else you set up, like a credit card or a bank account. A statement, it means that they elected not to pay you automatically through a bank charge or a credit card. They're like, I don't want you hitting that. Just mail me a statement and I'll pay you via check or whatever whenever you come in. Or they just don't have a credit card and they're paying you in cash. You might get that on a prepay membership. Those pay you in cash or with a check. And so what happens is you'll have statement set up as that payment method, and when that payment comes due, they're emailed automatically. A statement says, here's your payment. Either you can cut this out and mail it to us, or you can drop by and pay it when you come in. When you add another payment method here, you can put in a credit card or a bank account, and you'll check it as primary. That's going to be the one that gets billed against for future payments. Okay. The scheduling tab, we're not going to look at too much, but if you were scheduling personal training or appointments or anything like that, you would do that here. You'll get into that. I don't know if you keep track of weights and measurements for your membership, but if you do, you enter them here. So if you want to create measurements, you can go in here and enter all of these. There's some custom fields here that management might want to set up later if there's something we didn't think of, and then you can print a weight management report. Another feature, it works just like version 3. If you use it now, you can use it in version 360. It'll be attributes. Attribute is, if you use it, you'll know what it is. It's just a wildcard data field that you can assign to a member, so you can track maybe diabetes or high blood pressure. Martial arts clubs, it uses track belts through it, and then you just assign that member attribute to that member, and you can run reports on those attributes to see who has what attribute. Handy if they're like you're keeping track of high blood pressure and you read a great article on controlling your blood pressure, you can grab that report, get a list of people that have that attribute, and shoot them an email with that information if you wanted. That's one way a lot of people use that. Okay, that's kind of an overview of that member record. Some of the other features here, it's got the relate bar like before. One thing, if you're going to sell a member something, even though you got this big pretty green POS button up here, right here, you're going to want to, if it's to a specific member, you're going to want to go into the member record and buy something and sell it to them. And so if you got a member who's in the club and they're like, oh, hey, I want to buy this cool t-shirt, it looks great. Oh, hey, thanks, Tom. Click to Tom's member record, and then you click POS. POS takes you to the different types of things you can sell them. Once you get into selling courses, you can do that here. Additional services will be like a towel service, session service like personal training. Inventory items is going to be where you spend most of your time. You go, okay, great. I'm going to do a t-shirt, click sell, review the invoice. We're going to check out, and it all looks straight. Assign a salesperson. And then if they had a credit card or a checking account on file, that payment method would automatically appear in here, and you just click process. Bam, you're done. Pretty easy. You can elect to email them a receipt if you want. We're going to go ahead and add a payment method since this isn't connected, and we'll just do cash. Since it's easy, it automatically defaults to what you have. You click save and process. We're going to go through this when we enter a new member. It'll tell you it's processed. It pulls up the receipt. If you forgot to check the email box, you go, oh, I wanted to email them the receipt. You can go, well, there it is again. You can click email and send it to them right out of the system right here. Okay. When we set you up, you'll have your own logo up here. There's a place where you can upload your logo, something that you guys won't need to fool with, but we'll set it up with Amanda or somebody. And that's how the receipt looks. Click finish. We're done. So that's how you're going to do a POS for a member. When a member wants to come in and pay with their account on file, you go to the member record and you click the POS button. Okay? Other handy tools, everything else here, the brown button is for entering notes. The document button is for uploading documents if you want to scan their agreement and upload it there. You'll change the status of a member if they're not okay, if you want to put them on a hold. One thing I always like to explain to people what a membership hold is. When you put a member on hold in our system, it's very simple what it means. It just means that if during the period that they're on hold, a billing day comes due, they won't be billed. Very straightforward. So somebody comes in and says, hey, their membership dues are normally collected on October 15th. They show up today and they say, I got a broken leg. I'm not going to be in 2 months. Turn me back on December 8th. Okay, great. You turn them off. That means on October 15th and November 15th, they won't be billed, and on December 15th, they will be billed. If y'all charge a hold fee, and I don't know if your club does, but there's some people charge a hold fee for putting members on a medical hold or any type of membership hold, they'll be billed that hold fee. That's what a membership hold does. It can be for any reason, and that's kind of it. That's that button right here to put a member on hold. Member comes in and says they want to cancel. You click the cancel button. It cancels them out of the agreement. You can shoot them an email from right within the system by clicking the email button, and you can just type an email and go from there. You can also save emails as a template. So you might have, I don't know, some generic type of email that you routinely send, and you can just select it, test template, and it'll drop the text in there, and you can just hit send, and it'll shoot it out the door for them. Another handy feature, it's kind of like a lot like in version 3, is the welcome screen settings. You click that button up here, you can put a message to them on the welcome screen. You can set it to just show only one, so the next time they scan in, it'll show it to them. Or you might have it, run for a certain period of time, but it's just like in version 3, you set that up there. Okay, that was kind of a high-level view of, a pretty good view of the member record. Another section that we have, and we're going to come back and we're going to finish up with entering a member. Another section is a scheduler. It's a fully integrated calendar. You can set up courses and classes and schedule personal training and other types of things. I'm just going to show it to you right quick since y'all aren't going to start using it. Starts in a week view. You want to get to the day view, you click the day. It shows the employees that are set up to have stuff scheduled against them, and you set it up and schedule it. Very, very straightforward. If you want to schedule something, you just double click on the calendar and it says, what do you want to schedule, a PT session or a task? I want to schedule a task. Okay, great. You click continue and it says what kind of task do you want to schedule, and you go, okay, who is it I want to do it for that prospect. You start typing their name. It defaults to the list of people with those characters in your name, and then you select it. You select the task and then you set it up and then you're done. Very straightforward. We'll get into that more detail later as y'all ease into that. The CRM button, as far as the employees go, you probably won't use this too much. All it shows is all the things that you've scheduled. Like, okay, I want to look at the email history for the club. It'll pull up all the emails that have gone out the door. We got automatic emails that are being generated. A lot of them fail as we don't have the email addresses set up in this database. More importantly, you can look at notes history. So if, for example, management says, I want y'all to keep notes for the members. So if anything's happening with our members, write a note in the member record. Management will come in and they'll say, well, are my employees doing that? They can come over here, hit the notes, and they'll list the history of the notes. They're like, dang, I only got 2 in here. I need to explain to my team members the importance of using notes and that sort of a thing. POS system works just like I showed you before, except when you do the POS from up here, the sale is not associated with a particular member and you can't bill the member's account on file. So I always train people when they want to sell something to a member, go pull up the member record and then sell it to them that way. That way you can bill the account on file and you'll keep track of what members are buying what. Okay, reports. You got a lot of different reports that are mostly management level reports. For you guys, you'll probably look at the prospect list and managing your prospects there. So you'll see, who signed up when. Easiest thing to do is grab that report, sort it by date. You can kind of see an aging of your prospects, and then it'll have their name and number on there, and you can call them or email them as you feel is appropriate to work them. Last section was employee, and all you really need to worry about there is a time clock, and we've covered that. Okay, this is the fast, high-level view. The detail level view I'm going to get you show you right now is how you enter a member. So member comes up and joins. Okay, great. Member's going to join. You click the sign up button. Okay, we're going to have a new member join. If it was a terminated member, you would re-sign the terminated member. It was right over there. It dropped off the screen, but that's where it was. The membership plans you have will be organized into categories. So you'll have, a category membership might be like fitness memberships or prepaid memberships, and you select prepaid, and then the plan will be the different plans you have. You might have different, whatever the types of contracts you have, you just select it. And then everything pre-populates with how much it is, the sign-up fee, the start date, and anything else. Sometimes you'll adjust the start date. Yeah, I'm going to join, but I'm not going to be able to start coming for 2 weeks. Can you move the start for date forward 2 weeks? Yeah, sure, give me your check. We'll make it happen, and you can adjust the start date here. The salesperson will default to whoever's logged in. Since I'm logged in as a super admin, it doesn't default to anybody, and you select salesperson. And then you go to the next screen where you're going to capture the member data. Okay, very straightforward. You're going to assign a barcode here, and then you just drop in all the data that's required for their contact information. You can take their picture by clicking the camera button. It'll activate your camera, and you can snap a picture. Or if they email you a picture, you can upload it and put an image in there. But that's the next thing you're going to do. Well, let's just go ahead and enter a member right quick so we can see how that goes. So. I can't spell. Oops. Okay, she's a female. We're going to skip the street address. We'll skip all that stuff since it's not required. We're going to put in, even though it's not required, I'm going to put in the email address because my boss taught me how important it is to always capture the email address. So that would be really it. You capture their member information right now there. Now here is the key to understanding how you take payments. It all happens right here. You're going to have to select a payment method. Now the payment method that you're selecting right now is going to be for 2 things. The first thing is going to be is all the recurring dues that they're going to collect in the future. So if they're signing up for a month-to-month membership, you'll select the credit card or the bank account that they're going to charge. Also, when you go to check out, all the initial fees that you're going to be charging are going to be applied against this payment method. Key important thing there to remember is that, okay, then if they're going to pay me a different way for the initial fee, I need to delete out this payment method and put in however they're going to pay me. So occasionally you'll have a member show up and say, oh, here's $150 in cash for my sign-up fee, put my recurring monthly dues on a credit card. So what you would do is we'll call it a bank account, since I can do that. You select bank account, it gives you a pop-up member here, and you select checking, and we'll just put in a dummy bank name. And all you need to do is fill in the required fields. This is not Hannah Montana's real bank account. And then you click Save. Okay. I have my tokenization fail because I don't have a pay processor hooked up, so we're going to cancel out of that and instead put in statement. Okay, so statement just means they're going to pay me in cash or check. Okay, so if you scroll down a little bit further on this member entry screen, a couple other things down here that you'll notice is the payment method we set up appears in this box after you set it up. Okay, you can sell them additional services here, which you won't be doing. Some clubs might have a towel service or charge an extra $10 a month to use a tanning bed or something like that. You would add that here. If you have a large employer next door, or some retirement community that you recruit a lot of members out of, you might give them a group discount. You can set that up here. Or if you're keeping track of their insurance details so they can get reimbursement for their insurance company, you can do that here. You probably won't be doing that, so you'll almost never use or even scroll down to see that. Once you add the payment method, you'll see, aha, it's there, and then you're done. We save the member and check out. Confirms the member's been added. It takes you to this screen to review the transaction. Yep, membership plan, tag, all looks okay. Let's go ahead and check out. It also gives you the opportunity to upsell. Oh, hey, did you want to get a thing of protein powder or buy a t-shirt? You can sell that to them here. It'll add it to the transaction if you so desire, but we're not. And we're going to check out. Cashier will default to whoever's logged in. If you need to assign it to a different salesperson, you just select it from the drop down. You'll note here this does not have a payment method in this section here. They will have, if you had we had successfully set up the bank account method on the previous screen, it would say bank account and have payment status, and it would say in process right here. But it doesn't, because it wouldn't take it because this isn't integrated. And so it's only test data. So we're going to add a payment method, and we're going to select cash. If they're paying with a check, you can select check and put in the check number. If they want to pay with their credit card or their checking and savings account, you can do all that too. You can do an owner comp here. That'll be restricted for employees. And then discounting and so forth you can do here. The part about the future payment due, if they had paid it on account, you would do that here too, but like I said, you're almost never going to do that, so we're just going to select cash. It defaults with however much it's owed. You click save and process, you're done. I forgot to check off the email, the receipt button, and it's processing before I did that. That's okay if you forgot, because when it pulls up the receipt, it's going to be right there. You can either print the person a receipt, or you can click email the receipt button right here, and you don't have to fool with it, and it'll fire out the door to your member. And that's how you enter a member. So, in review, we covered all the steps. We got the home button, which will show you guys this task that you have scheduled for the day. You got your member attendance panel over here, shows you who last scanned in, and the last 10 or 15, however many fit in here, who scanned in for the day. It's all hot links, so you can click to member records. We covered entering a prospect and managing those, entering a member, and how to take payments. If a member payment fails, we talked about how to go do a get payment and how to best sell through the POS system on the member record. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up right now and hit pause on the recording and field any questions that we have after I hit pause.